What up, everybody? The Shy Season 7, Episode 10 is centered around a block party encouraging kids to put down their guns, thrown by Pastor Zeke and his ex wife Carolyn after they found out that their daughter Kenya had a gun last episode. The episode starts out with the continuation of last week's episode after Emmett proposed to Keisha, but Keisha didn't answer Emmett at the time because she feels like marriage is sacred and not something that she wants to rush into. Then Jada asked everybody to clear the room, and she told Emmett that she's dying. After that, there was a 3-week time jump, and Keisha still hadn't told Emmett, but Emmett was back home now and depressed because of everything he has going on, primarily because of the fact his mother's dying. This episode, we also saw intimate moments between Emmett and Darnell, both already dealing with the grief knowing that Jada's dying. A touching moment between Keisha and Jada when they recalled the first time they met each other back in Season 1. And another touching moment between Jada and Emmett where Jada tells Emmett that the next time he proposes, to do it with conviction and not fear. Then there's also the fact that when Emmett got shot and was in the hospital, Keisha hired Shenita to run Smokies in Emmett's absence. And she's overstepping a little bit in my opinion, firing Damian, Emmett's brother, without even talking to him or Keisha first, and also printing shirts and talking about partnering with Tiff's weed business, again without running it past Emmett first. Not to mention she was all up in Emmett and Keisha's conversation at the block party. I get the feeling that she's trying to take over Smokies for real on a permanent basis, even though Keisha told her that it would only be a temporary job. Once Emmett found out that Shenita had fired Damian, he told Nuck about it, and Nuck told Emmett that he could find Damian work, and Emmett specifically told Nuck to make sure that it was nothing illegal. When Nuck then turned to Hannibal to talk about getting Damian a job, working for him in his shrooms business. So Nuck got Damian a job, but an illegal one. And when Damian started working for Hannibal, Hannibal told him his number one rule was no stealing. And if he stole from him, he would kill him. But the first day on the job, Damian stole a couple shrooms to take to the block party for him and Zuri to take. And we know that Hannibal keeps strict inventory of his product. So I think he'll know that Damian stole from him, even though it might not be enough to kill over, but Damian will probably lose his job just as fast as he got it. But Hannibal is worried about other things because Nuck is pressing Hannibal about getting information about Reg, trying to manipulate Hannibal to get information for him, telling Hannibal that he's keeping him alive. And personally, I don't see how Nuck's keeping Hannibal alive in any type of way. If anything, he's putting him directly in the line of fire, because Reg is already on to the fact that Detective Toussaint is watching him. Keep it in mind, last episode, Hannibal was already playing detective with Reg, which made Reg ask him why he's asking so many questions. Now this episode, Reg was telling Hannibal about the fact that a cop has been sitting outside there watching him, and that the cop's been out there all day. But Hannibal tried playing it off like Reg was tripping. But Jackie, when she saw the cop, knew what time it was and was ready to go outside and smoke her. But Reg stopped her and told her to stand down, saying that he's tripping. I think at this point he knew that Hannibal was up to something from the way he tried playing off the fact there was obviously a cop outside, and probably remembered the questions Hannibal was asking him last episode. So that led to later on Reg telling Jackie about a jewelry store robbery that he wanted her to help him with in front of Hannibal. And this led to Hannibal third-party snitching, passing that info over to Nuck, who gave Toussaint the drop about what was going down. And like how in episode 9, Hannibal's death was foreshadowed twice, it was foreshadowed again this episode when his wife Angie told him that she doesn't like rats and that she hopes Reg doesn't kill them for snitching on him. And Reg proved he was playing chess when everybody thought he was playing Connect 4. Because Reg sent a couple of his people from the 63rd Street mob to do the robbery instead of him and Jackie going themselves. And when Toussaint figured that out, she was pissed off because it wasn't Reg, and let Nuck know that he gave her bad info. And prior to this, Nuck met up with Toussaint at what looks like to be the block party. So if that's the case, he's really playing with fire, taking risks that somebody could see him getting out of a cop car. But during that conversation, Toussaint was pressing Nuck hard for information, like she actually has something to hold over him, forcing him to work for her when Nuck's actually working for her voluntarily. So I think Nuck is definitely going to regret getting in bed with law enforcement, especially because Toussaint showed herself not to be trustworthy for Nuck this episode also, turning to Alicia and letting her know that Bakari knows who killed Rob, letting Alicia know about how they found Bakari's vomit over by Rob's body in front of her house. After Toussaint told Alicia this, she just sat back and waited for Alicia to tell her who killed Rob. Alicia asked her if Bakari did it, and Toussaint said no, but she thinks Bakari knows who did. Then she asked if it was Zay, and Toussaint again said no, but she thinks that Zay took the fall for whoever did. And then Alicia gave her Nuck, and this is exactly what Toussaint wanted, because like I said, right now, Nuck is working for her voluntarily, and she has nothing to hold over his head. But now after finding this out, she'll be able to force Nuck to work for her and give her information moving forward. That's if Alicia lets Nuck survive long enough to do that, because after finding out that Bakari knew who killed Rob, she immediately canceled his scholarship, as she should have. And just like Alicia planned, this forced Bakari to come see her and ask her what happened, when Alicia told Bakari that he's going to tell her who killed her son, or she's going to kill him and bury him in her backyard. And this is how episode 10 concluded. But Bakari's death was also foreshadowed in this episode when he first got to the block party and some people with pictures of kids who lost their life to gun violence passed him. Then again, when Bakari tried talking to Lene, she told him that she doesn't want him to die. And Bakari told her that he knows how to stay alive. And Lene replied she hopes so. Jake even offered Bakari a job at the block party, hinting at him that he needs to get out of life before it's too late. So with 2 episodes left in season 7, Bakari and Hannibal are at the top of my death predictions list. Not to mention Reg, Alicia, and Toussaint are all making chess moves, staying a step ahead of Nuck, ironically enough because Duda was teaching Nuck how to play chess before he killed him. A couple other details from this episode before I wrap this video up is that Pastor Zeke is making a play to try to get back with his ex-wife Carolyn, and Pastor Zeke sees Papa as a son that he never had. I think both of them are also hoping that Kenya gets back in a relationship with Papa as well. Rashad met a lady who sells candles named Nora at the block party and plans on taking Nora out to dinner. Probably something we'll see in the next episode. As for Victor, he's getting the cold treatment from Tiff because of the fact he didn't tell her that Reg was still alive. And to add insult to injury, he saw Tiff put Nuck's hand on her stomach at the block party. But when Rashad and Victor were eating dinner later in the episode, Victor asked Rashad if it was Alicia who shot at Reg. And Rashad told Victor that it was, but he didn't know she was going to try to shoot him. Keep it in mind that Victor is friends with Jamal, so Victor, knowing Alicia shot Jamal, could come back into play at some point as well. And as Keisha's putting off marriage, maybe even a little too much, not one to rush into it, we're seeing the problems that Jamal and Dom are having because they did rush into marriage, which is Jamal wanting a child and Dom not wanting to have any kids, something that they never talked about prior to getting married because of the fact they rushed into marriage. And there you have it. Leave your thoughts, theories, and predictions in the comments.